technology screens over there, and over there I keep putting the camera to is our advanced ambient light injection technology. And over there, that is a 126-inch Black Phantom. Now, one of the things we have to do anytime we're developing any kind of dark screen paint, whether it be 7s, 12s, 17s, any one of those, they have to go through this kind of rigorous testing that we put them through. One of the testings that we put them through, we have to be to show a comparison of the difference between black paint, black fabric, black material, just about anything you think of, versus the black technology we're developing. We go through this with all our black screen paints. And the reason why is because, as I said before, at the end of the day, if we have a company or somebody that's acquiring that black product, sometimes these questions may come up. They may ask, hey, look, what's the difference between your product and black paint? I'll probably get the same results if I use black vinyl. I'll probably get the same results if I use black fabric. So these are things you have to be to show the difference on. You can't just basically just paint a black screen and go, voila, automatically black screen. No, there's a lot of testing that goes under black screens. It's not that easy. It's not something you can actually go and cut corners on. You can't do that with this technology. It has to be done thoroughly. It has to be done right. Because at the end of the day, you're going to end up with a very, very dirty screen. All right, so let me grab a power strip so we can start this. And we got a little setup in here we're going to be working on today. I got some work I got to finish off today also. I need a power strip. Let me see. We got a cord there? Oh, we got a cord there. I'm not sure. Now, as we go along, I'll show you some of the insane tests that when you're working with black technology that you're going to have to go through. Anyone that's not doing these tests, at the end of the day, does not have a black screen. So all black screens that we develop have to go through this. And like I said, these are questions that will be asked as these are questions that are going to be asked if you're selling this product. Because if I'm a company and I'm going to put that kind of money down for, and even if it's a small amount, to be able to buy a black screen from you, I'm curious to know what is the difference if I were to go out and paint the screen with everyday black paint. I probably would, in my mind, I would think I would get the same reaction. Now, as I said before, any black surface can pull contrast. Very easy to do. The biggest problem you're going to have with the black technology is white levels. You have to be to show the difference between your white levels versus black paint versus fabric and so forth. Other than that, you're just like everybody else. You just have black paint at the end of the day. All right, so we have here this. We can begin this process. Now, I chose to do these demonstrations live because, like I said, pre-recorded, usually people are doing pre-recorded demonstrations, they can be falsified from time to time, especially if you're doing something like this. If we're recording outside and it's a Wi-Fi issue where the signal isn't going to come up all that great, then I will go use pre-recorded. But usually on something like this is very important for it to be done live. Like I said, these are demonstrations that you should be seeing anytime you see anybody presenting a black screen. You have to be to see that difference between those black levels and white levels. All right, so what we have here is a piece of fiberglass right here where we're going to paint. We got some everyday flat black paint here in the corner. And I'm going to move this over here to the side. I'm going to take some of this black paint. I'm going to pour some of this out right here on this side right here. You can see it's a jet black paint right there we got there. Right there. And these are just like we go through this all the time. Anytime we're doing business with a company, companies want to start reconsidering things like, okay, wait a minute, at the end of the day, how do we know this stuff isn't just everyday black paint? And then they're going to ask questions. Can you prove it? And you're going to have to be able to prove that, because if you can't, then you're not going to be able to get that account or basically get that contract or however way of what they got set up. It's not going to go through because you have to show that difference. This and this container is a Phantom. So the Phantoms are crazy dark. A Phantom is actually 4 times darker than the Phoenix. We're going to have a Phoenix and Phantom show you that both. We did it already. I think they did it already on the stage sheet. All right, so this is the Phantom. We're dropping it right now. And this is, when you look at them, when you look at them, you're thinking like, well, what the heck is the difference? This one has a heightener technology that we were blessed to be able to learn how to design, and this one doesn't. So this one can see white light, and this one can't see white light. All right, so I'm gonna go over here, get my stuff set up. I gotta grab my screen out. We're gonna paint this one black. We're gonna put this one against a Phantom, and then show you. Now, as I said before, pour them out side by side, both together. You can see that they both look the same, except for one has a heightener technology and one doesn't. Also, this one right here, which is Phantom technology, dries in a certain shade. So, to make sure that 2 things we don't run a problem with. One, if we're dealing with a company and they're saying this is our product and it's not, we can tell because the Phantom dries has a different shade than this one. You think they would both dry the same as black. No, this one's going to dry darker, this one's going to dry slightly lighter. But they look exactly both the same. Look at them, there you go. All right. Now, let's go and paint our screen in. Right here, bring my sand down a little bit. And go down the front real quick, I'll show you the Phantom. It's the Phantom right here, 92-inch Phantom. There it is on display right there. And I better set my projector up too while we're at it. So at the end of the day, as I said before, when I said developing black technology is very, very difficult. You have some people out there who really believe that they can make it so easy. It's not that easy. Again, any surface can do contrast. You're going to have to be able to display your white levels. And you're going to have to be able to display your white levels against other black surfaces. Because like I said, at the end of the day, some people don't want to basically put out that bill because they're going to say, well, at the end of the day, I can make this out of black paint. I can make this out of black fabric. What is the difference between your product and these? You're gonna have to show that difference. So this is what this demonstration is, to show you the difference between our product and black paint and black fabric. We're gonna do black paint right now. All right, let me see. All right, let's get a and we're going to make this a challenge. We know there's a few people out there trying to develop black screens. We're going to make this a challenge. Today, this is going to be a challenge. Black paint challenge. Black fabric, black vinyl, black chalk paint, black spray paint. Yep, we have to go through all that. But like I said, at the end of the day, company's not going to drop that money in your account. They're going to sit there and say, well, we can save money. Just go down and get some bare black paint, do the exact same thing. Nope, it's not that easy. All right, here we go. There's the white levels on the Phantom. Taku, you have this whole section in here that is yours. That's my cat. You wonder if you hear me talking in the background? That's my cat back there running back and forth acting crazy. All right, so there's the white levels on ours displayed. Now we're going to come over here and we are going to paint this in. We got to put this somewhere we can get it to dry too. I guess I'll take it downstairs. So let me get it set up downstairs so we can get someplace where we can dry it up at. So I said at the end, be careful when you're dealing with black screens because there are fake products out there who can't back these tests. Careful about people who claim that they can make these products. And again, we'll cut corners. So you should be showing off, you should be seeing these demonstrations. I said, Phantom, black paint. Both look the same, right? Phantom technology dries lighter. This is going to dry darker. But they both, excuse me, look the same. Sorry about that. Let me wash my hands. There we go. I got landscapers coming out today, hopefully today. Cut the backyard down so we get access to the 150-inch Phoenix will be outside. We'll be doing some demonstrations on that one next too. At 150 inches. If all goes well, I'll probably be able to install 250 inches in the backyard. One's going to be painted with a mix. The other one's going to be painted with, well, actually the other one already has the 150-inch. Put them side by side, two projectors, do the demonstration outside. And we'll be doing that one on contrast, demonstrations, and color. So I got to get ready to prep my 150-inch to get it ready to be coated with this mix. All right, so over here, let's get this surface right here. So we gotta get the fan, everything set up. Oh, fan's everything set downstairs, okay, all plugged in. All right, so let's get this painted right now. Because I got a fan downstairs, it's gonna dry all this. All right, so look at it again. The products, both of them are black. This is black Phantom. This is black house paint right here. Like I said, these are tests. You should be seeing these are tests we have to do regardless anyway, because like I said, at the end of the day, when you're dealing with a black screen paint, one of the things you're going to get, if you're dealing with a company, the company goes, okay, look, we'll buy this paint from you, but what's the difference if I go out and buy myself a gallon of black paint, or if I buy black fabric? One, I get the same results. You have to be to show that there is a difference. Now, as I said before, any black surface can pull contrast, not a problem. The biggest problem you're going to have with the black screen is its white levels. When you're dealing with gray screen paints, one of the biggest problems you're going to deal with is contrast. Any gray screen paint product, as we have quite a lot here that we made, can pull colors and white levels easily. The problem you're going to have with those particular screens is the contrast levels. That's going to be a problem. So that's why we're doing it side by side. 150, 150, and this is going to be with white screens. This is going to be with gray mixes, stuff like that, to show you why on a large scale, a very large scale, why you do not want to deal with this stuff. Those older gray mixes, just stay away from those. We made a couple of them here. You've seen the results of them at the end of the day. just a black and white product. That's all it is. Nothing more. Nothing special. Nothing high tech about it. That's all. Now, when it comes to our stuff that we develop, we have to show a difference. So, is there anything different besides everyday black paint versus Phantom technology? Well, we'll see. Now, those of you who've seen me do these demonstrations before, you already know the outcome. We're also going to do some demonstrations on a spray cannon versus a paint roller. I had somebody ask me, like, well, what gives you a better, well, actually, I told you in the day, it depends on the size of the application. If you got a screen, I've rolled a 180-inch screen, easily. But if you got something bigger than that, you're going to have to, I would suggest spraying it. Now, the screen we want to build in the backyard, if we ever get to it, it's 250 inches. There's no way I'm rolling a 250-inch screen. That is not going to happen. Not even, I got to put two applications of a primer on that surface so it doesn't get those uneven spots. And I am not rolling that in. That's a very big screen to do. So I've ordered a big boy Wagner to come in, get that job done. Put these over here now. This demonstration we do right here gets us contracts like crazy. Because like I said, the doubt. I love the doubt factor. You know, you go in there and you can see it in their eyes when I'm doing these video meetings with some of these companies I work with, and they can see it in their eyes when I show them the black paint. I don't even show them the screen. I just show them the black paint next to another black paint, and you can see it in their eyes where they're just convinced that this black paint we're painting on is the same thing as everyday black paint. I can see the doubt. Doubt is good sometimes, because with that doubt builds confidence. And then when I take that screen and I put it against my screen and put that white level, my screen goes boom, and that white level pushes through, automatic contract, sign that quick. They can't get it fast enough. You want the doubt in there. But this is what you should be seeing. Now, anybody who doesn't do these tests or do these demonstrations, at the end of the day, how do you know if it's just everyday black paint? And this is something, again, you should be able to see a difference behind the projector. There we go. If it was easy for anybody to develop a black screen, you would see so many of them on the market. It'd be insane if it was that easy. If it was that easy to make one, mind you, I've been making black technology since 2015. That's a long time. If that was the case and was that easy, to just take black paint and do the same thing, none of this would ever exist, because anybody can make it. Just take black paint, put it on, you're done. So, like I said, you have to do these demonstrations. All right, so this is our black paint. Done with this. Take this downstairs. I'm gonna stick this in front of the fan, right there. So get this to dry. That's my cat and his battle roars early in the morning. That's a con down top. I'm gonna get you one of them battle warrior suits. I'm gonna order one for you. All right. Now I'm gonna have to make some more paint of the Phantom, because right now today I'm going to be painting over the inflatable screen. I don't know what that material is they use for inflatable screen, but that stuff married very well. Usually when it comes to that material, it can become a problem, because as I said before, using polyester, the tarp comes up pretty quick. there. So see, let's put this out here real quick. This is black paint. This is Phantom Technology. There you go. Both look black, don't they? Nope, one's different than the other. Oh, I should have never poured out that much. Then I got to paint a screen. What should I pour out? Oh, I'm cool. This stuff has really good coverage, so I wasted a ton of paint right there. But literally, stuff has extremely good coverage. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I'm gonna mess up hold on. I'm about to destroy my countertop real quick, but let me see something real quick. All right. This is why I tell you stuff has really good coverage. I'm not worried about my countertop. This stuff, the way we design it, washes off really good. So we're just gonna finger paint this section right here. We're gonna use this in a demonstration. All right, so we're gonna do this section right here. It's not the best finger paint job in the world. This stuff has really good coverage. Paint all this right here. Yeah, don't worry, I'm not worried about the countertop. How many times I've dropped paint on my countertop here? This one's different from the rest of them in the house. Just want to have a coating on top of it. So I bought a protective coating on it to protect my granite top. So I'm not worried about that. But this stuff washes off really good. I told you, this paint you get a lot of coverage out of it. So you just want to put a little bit down when you're using it. So we're going to put that in there. That's what we're going to use for that side. Let me see if I can get over to the sink without jacking up my floors. White barn floors. You know how hard these things are to keep clean? Especially when I'm walking back and forth out of the shop. There we go. This is what you have to do when you're developing products. You have to be able to go outside the box. If you make it too easy, anybody can mimic your demonstrations easily. That's how we were able to make that product so fast, so quick. Anybody's able to do it. So, if our product was so easy to make, which we're showing in these demonstrations, that's why we have so many tests and weird, crazy demonstrations, 18 certified, don't project this back. You have to be able to show that there's a difference between your product and everybody else. Have to. If not, anybody can come on YouTube, make your product, match your product, and do the exact same demonstrations that you're doing off your video right on yours. You have to be real careful about that. You have to show a difference. There we go. Now, while we're waiting for this craziness to dry, I'm gonna take this downstairs because I'm gonna clean up this right here. I'll put you guys right here for a minute. So we have, well, you'll know when the camera comes on which one's which, because one's gonna pull higher white levels and the other one's not. So you'll know. Sorry, Taku, my bad. Thanks for knowing you. Bite you for that one. I will bite you. Now, when you're talking about when I was developing gray screen paints, and when those gray screen paint products were all the rage, at that particular time, keep in mind, everybody had gray screen paints. Everybody. Everybody, one way or another, was developing some kind of gray screen paint product. Oh, there were a lot of them. You know, had like maybe 20, 30 people developing gray screen paint products around 7 years ago. So, we had to show something that was different in your product from everybody else's. So most people were still following behind Goose Screen. Goose Screen's method took forever to paint a screen in. It was multiple applications, there's multiple layers. You had to sand the wall down with all of the crazy stuff you had to go through. And everybody wanted to be like Goose Screen. They were doing their demonstrations, making their products like theirs, requiring you to do this, requiring you to do that. All this sanding just to get the screen on your wall. So people were following behind Goose Screen. Much like today, where you have people still doing the same demonstrations on the certified screens with ambient light controlled environments. Cleaning up my countertop. Ambient light environments and calibrated projectors and overpower projectors that are doing all the work. So it's the same thing, same thing. We came out, we were in a sea of people that were doing gray screens, so we had to do something completely different. All the demonstrations that I researched at that particular time, everybody was doing demonstrations in the dark. So we did the opposite. We did demonstrations with a well-lit environment. That's what we talked about, high gain, 2.9 and all stuff like that on developing screens that can produce images in fully lit environments. And because of those demonstrations, because we were doing something completely different, you didn't have to wait hours to sand down your wall. You didn't have to go through priming the surface. This is stuff that was big then. This was big topics then, you know, because of Goose Screen, when they came out, they set the map at, you had to have a perfectly flat wall. You can only paint it to a wall. The wall had to be sanded down and be perfectly flat. So it was hours and hours of sanding and prepping just to get ready to paint this $600 or $900 quart of paint to your wall. So everybody was following those rules. We did the opposite. We did something, we came in, we could paint the screen in no time at all. That's why here on camera back then, somebody, yeah, you can paint the screen in no time at all. You can paint over anything you want. The wall was covered in spray paint, marks and stuff. You have to worry about sanding the wall. And this made a lot of people happy because at the end of the day, they didn't have to do that. This is way before we met anybody else, before anybody knew I ever existed. We were doing these demonstrations, and that's what got us on the map. That's why when you look at that Facebook page of that contract we had overseas, these fellows saw our demonstration on YouTube, and I got a call. I remember this guy's name was Laszlo. Called me up and said, hey, look, we're interested in your product. We think we can use it over here where we're at in our country. And we want to know, would you be interested in signing the contract? And I was like, oh, heck yes. I'll sign the contract. So they came down and met over at Subway. Had my buddy drive me down there, and we talked a little bit. They transferred about $3,200 to my banking account and asked for a few samples. It was not as much as $3,200, but the rest of it was for me to keep, letting me know that they were serious about doing business. So that's when I brought my buddy June and my other buddy on, my vice president, started the company. Well, not started it, but out of all the screen paints out there, like I said, there were so many great screen paints out there. Ours was the one that stuck out because we were showing demonstrations. We were painting on dirty walls and dirty material and drywall and all this other crazy demonstrations that nobody was doing. Fully lit environments. We had one person who painted their clothes. I'm standing from a screen. They blended in. You have to do those demonstrations that make you stand out from everybody else. Ain't that right, Taco? No, he's quiet on camera. All right. My light gray screen paints now, pretty much they do all the rest of paints do. Same things. They can't produce colors too well. Then at that particular time, the colors were nice because, like I said, 70 years ago. But now, compared to the technology we have now with darker screens, more advanced ambient light rejection technology, it's an obsolete product. It is. Anybody can make it, and there's no difference in it, you know, whatsoever. The same demonstrations that I see in poorly lit environments with these screens, it's like the same demonstrations we did when we were coming up in the field. Because like I said, when we were coming up, there was no such thing as having a light on in your environment. It was unheard of. Your environment was dark. People did stuff like what, blackout curtains and everything to make them really dark for the projector. So the demonstrations that they're doing now are old. They're like 70 years old because that's what we did back then. Now you should be showing demonstrations with the room lit up and, you know, people walking around, the screens are on. It should look like that. That's how it should look. That's why I said it's outdated. Anybody can make it, do the same thing. So the era of black screens is a little bit more difficult. It's really difficult. The higher you advance the technology, the more difficult it becomes. When I was developing it in 2015, it was a little different. White levels were okay, but they weren't where they should be at. Now I look back now at my old demonstrations and my old tests I did back then, I go, ooh, man, that's really bad. I mean, the white levels are not popping. Contrast is good, but this is having problems here. I can pull apart my own video and I can analyze my own stuff and I can see where there was some real serious problems. But at that particular time, it was considered to be good because it was the only black screen at that time, which was the digital 4K Crystal Onyx screen paint. So, but as you progress, you have to make it better and better and better. You have to work harder and harder and harder to get it to where you need to get it at. So like I said, any black screen, any black surface, any of them are going to always have the ability to produce contrast. Most important thing for a black screen has to be those white levels, and you have to show a difference between your white levels versus any black surface you throw it against. That's why I am very interested on basically, I'm collecting black screens for that Phantom. I mean, already we went through all the certifieds we could possibly go through once we can pretty much get permission to get our hands on them. But right now, my goal for that screen now is to go against any black screen to test anything we can get our hands on. There are no other black screens out there. Now, if someone's developing one, we're very interested in doing side-by-side tests. Very interested, which now I want to see. And you should be able to do one of the tests. We know that from the door. If you can't do it, we know it's in it. If you can't do a test of your product versus black paint, we automatically know what's in it from the door. And that's the first thing you're going to go through, even with a company. If a company agrees to sign a contract with you, they say, hey, look, we're going to use this black product and our studio, whatever, and they're going to ask, and they will. Buddy, look, stuff is like $300 a quart. What's the difference of me just going over to Home Depot and buying some black paint? What's going to be the difference of me just getting some black cloth? What's the difference in black vinyl? What's the difference? They're all the same. You have to be able to back that up. Okay, so we're waiting for the screens to dry. That's why I put them out like this. You can see both of them side by side. Black paint, Phantom. They'll both the same. The interesting thing about this is this technology under the Phantom is going to dry a different shade. Even though it's going to be black, as you can see when I go next room, it's a different shade, but they both look black. But when they dry, you'll tell which one's which. These are things you have to do, not only for people who do faulty demonstrations against your products, but also to companies you're going to be doing business with, because not everything is going to be peaches and cream at the end of the day. You have to be to defend yourself. Because at the end of the day, if you're just starting off, they've got the attorneys and the power to push it. You, on the other hand, do not. So you have to figure out other ways to be able to protect your product. And one of the things we do is we give all our screen paints a real weird signature coating, which means when that screen dries, it changes. That's exactly what it's supposed to do, but it's not going to look like what you're going to be to do. So say we had, I think I said, we had an incident where somebody was trying to get $4,000 for free money from us off invoice order, and they printed out our labels, they put the product in the labels, and they say, hey, look, the cans came dented, they came damaged, delivery dented cans. We need a refund. I'm looking at this invoice. Remember, we do a lot of invoices. It doesn't look right. Something doesn't look right about it. So we have them paint the screen down because we know our product dries differently, and we go to pour it over top of it, and it doesn't match. Now there's a problem because for some reason, the product we have in this container, which is ours, is not matching the product that you have here on this table. And this is when you get breach of contract, and this is where attorneys get involved. We don't say anything after that. There's nothing to talk about, nothing to discuss. Walk out of the room, let the attorneys handle it. Because after that, it's a breach of contract, and it's a lawsuit at the end of the day. These are things you have to be able to do. Now, if I made a product that didn't have a certain signature when it dried, I wouldn't be able to fight that in court. There's no way in the world I could fight that in court. Impossible. How am I going to be able to tell the difference between showing them like, look, this is black, but yeah, but this looks black. There's no difference in between the two. You have to show some kind of signature that makes your product different from everybody else. If not, like I said, oopsie-doo. That's why I tell people that an artist is, you can't afford a copyright, write your initials, your name, anything into your artwork. Because at the end of the day, you just have to prove it's yours at the end of the day. You go to court, you pull out that magnifying glass, says, look, here it is right here, into the artwork, right here, blah, 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 blah. You got sued. Whoever messed with your stuff is going to get sued at the end of the day. There's a little stuff you do. Do not do the poor man copyright. Don't do that. Don't do the poor man copyright. Don't send something in the mail and send it back to you. I work in court. It doesn't. All right. We got Tatsu's Battlefish right there. Battlefish. All right, so this right here, it's a piece of cardboard we painted several times. We've used this in multiple demonstrations. This is actually painted with black paint. Let me get my stand for this too. And I need, what's the format? And on top of that, they're going to ask about fabrics. What's the difference between your products and black fabric? That's what I'm going to ask about. So we got here, everyday piece of fabric right here. So what's the difference if somebody's saying, well, I don't want to spend that kind of money for paint. How about I just basically use fabric instead? Now, what's the difference between fabric and the black screen over there? I'm pulling up white levels. So let's get the fabric out. I'm waiting for the other ones to dry in the basement right now. Here. So I gotta shave it too. I'm gonna shave in the next one of these. All right. That looks white, right? It's not actually white at all. I love doing this demonstration. This is so much fun. My projector is 44,000 lumens, just to let you know. So we have plenty of light at the screen. Stand a little higher up. And I can see that Taco has put his fish there to be seen on camera. All right. Let's see. Which one is going to pull the higher white level? There you go. That's what happens. See that dirty, ugly color white that's getting off the black surface? And you see the Phantom that has the ability to produce at high white level? That's the difference. Phantoms can produce extremely high white levels. As a matter of fact, when we developed the Phantom, keep in mind, Phoenix had the exact same issue. We did the Phoenix. Not the same issue as this, but we did the Phoenix. The Phoenix was pushing off so much light that the screen was basically, well, it was hot spotting, but it was basically the heightener that was in it. We had to add something to it that allowed the screen to be the tone to adjust, so that way when the projector hit it, it wasn't reflecting all this light right back at you. I'm going to post at the bottom the first demonstration when we first posted the Phoenix technology, showing the screen pulling off these heavy, crazy white levels in the middle of a demonstration, and me sitting there saying on camera, we had to add something into it to be to control the white levels because they're pushing off too much light. But there you go. You kind of get a kind of, it's not white, kind of get a, like kind of a silverish kind of look to it. And that's not what you want. Okay, where's the remote control? That's the first thing I need to track down because I got the bad habit of losing remote controls literally all over the house. Yeah, so we're going to track down first. Oh, here it is. Skyworth food demonstration. Interesting. The cardboard shows up brighter. Now, cardboard is painted. It shows up brighter than this, but still, the white levels are bad. So we're going to sit in there. Just a little better. There you go. See? That's what you have to do. That's what you have to be to back up. If it's not, at the end of the day, if you can't tell the difference, if you can't basically show the difference between your product producing higher white levels than black fabric, black vinyl, or any black paint, at the end of the day, you have what it is in that container. Nothing but black paint. That's my controller in my hand. Not every surface can show a white level. And if the white level comes up dirty, that means the screen comes up dirty also. That's another problem you're gonna run into. Pretty up close. Look how dirty and gray the background is. That's supposed to be bone white. That's clean. That's dirty. There you go. That's what you got to be to show. Let's go over to this one. There we go. White screensaver. There you go. That's how your screen's showing white levels. That's how dark they're coming up versus our technology. It has to show a difference between the black screens. As I said before, any surface can pull up contrast level. So I have to show those white levels. White levels is black paint that was painted onto a surface right there. That's it, black paint versus our technology. That's the same paint that was I painted and the on the table. I put them side by side to each other. Where if you pour out a Phantom and you pour out black paint, they both look the same. The minute you paint them on, you show a white level, the Phantom produces higher white level. Because Phantom black technology can see white light. This stuff can't see white light. This is where I did the demonstration where we had the screen painted. I took a paintbrush, I painted my name into the screen. Now, if I walk in front of the projector, mind you, when you looked at the paint, when I was painting them out, both of them look exactly the same. I told you the Phantom dries differently. It's black, but it's a different shade of black. Another way we can tell the identity of a product. Watch this. There you go. Yeah, they both, when you paint them out, they both look the same. Phantoms dry differently. They're black, but they dry a different shade of black, even though they both look the same when you pour them out. That's another reason why we can tell if someone takes black paint and they claim it to be a Phantom, we can know because Phantoms dry a different shade of black than any other black surface. Yep, you gotta be able to protect yourself. That's what I said. Now, the interesting thing about that is Phoenixes have the exact same code too. Any black technology we develop has to have that exact same code. Because like I said, at the end of the day, whether it be the 17, whether it be a 7, whether it be an 8 or 12, we're still asked the exact same question. What's the difference between your product and black paint? And we have to be able to show that. So I'm going to show you a demonstration from a 7 way back. We did a demonstration of black house paint versus a 7. We had to show the difference with a company because at the end of the day, we can just go and buy black paint and do the same thing. What's the difference between your product and that? And I had to display that to them. I had to show them. And I'll show you the demonstration, check the timestamp, how old it is. We've been doing these over and over and it's nothing new. That's why when I look at a black screen paint, whether it be from Cookie Cutter or from the other individual, we can tell that there's a problem with the product. We can see it. I'm an expert in black technology. So I can tell just by looking at a screen that there's something wrong with it. One of the issues I saw, black screens, I don't care. If you have them outside, they always remain black no matter what. They never turn gray. That's virtually impossible. It's a black screen. It's like if you had a black Corvette, you go drive out, you drive at night, it's black, but you drive it out in the daytime, it's gray. That ain't right. Something ain't right there. So we know something's wrong there. The first red flag that popped up. So yeah. And you have to be to show the difference between the two. One screen I actually am interested in doing a demonstration, a screen called Try something. It's a weird name to it, but it's kind of a weird screen. I don't know if it's from Germany or whoever developed it, but it's jet black and that thing produces amazing white levels. I would love to go do a side by side next to that. That may give us a way to go. All right, people, this is already dried and done. So we're waiting for the screen to dry. This is the screen we painted on the kitchen table right here. Already done. There's the black surface right there. We painted on the kitchen table. Finished. Now I'm taking my cloth. I'm wiping down and make sure there's no wet paint on the back of it because I do not want that hitting my screen. As you can see, if it hits my screen, I'm going to have gray particles all over my screen because my screen produces a higher white level than black paint. So I don't want any of that hitting my screen. It's my outdoor screen. All right. So here's the material right here. As you can see, this is the one we painted in the kitchen right there. Now let's lay this against my screen here. We'll remove the cardboard. And voila. There you go. As you can see right there, that our screen over black paint. Now mind, it's the same black paint that I showed in the container side by side. They both look black. The only difference is that the technology we develop has a heightener in it. And that heightener technology allows the screen to be able to see and accept white light. Black paint is not going to match our products. Black vinyl is not going to match our products. Black fabric is not going to match our products because neither one of those surfaces can read and accept white light. So screen paints out there that are black, we're going to be hunting for you next. Test demonstrations side by side. Because at the end of the day, if you can't complete this challenge, this is a very, very easy challenge to do. Basic black paint versus your product. It's going to allow us to know at the end of the day whether you're using black paint or not. Now keep in mind, people, at the end of the day, if they don't do the challenge, as I said before, it's not a big deal for us because then it just tells us from the door, if you can't do this demonstration, if you can't prove it or back it up, your product is black paint. But that's the difference. That's why I said this is what you have to be able to prove. You have to be able to prove that your fabric, that your product you're designing can produce higher white light. Now, we did this too also with the blackout cloth surfaces we have here. When I did the 178-inch gamer paint The blackout cloth surface, you're gonna have people gonna say, well, what's the difference between that? I mean, can I get a black bed sheet and do the same thing? Oh, no, you can't. We got the demonstration posting. We're gonna be doing one today because I gotta paint a bunch of these screens anyway. I'm gonna paint one painted, one unpainted. We're gonna do a demonstration of white levels to show you exactly that one screen is gonna produce a higher white level than the other one because it has that heightener coating technology that allows for black screens to see higher white levels. Or our black screens to do it. There we are right there. If you notice, one of them is actually showing a higher white level than the other. That one right there is black paint. That's our technology on that side. And that surface is still soaking wet. See? There you go. Have to be to show the difference. Can't show the difference at the end of the day. Somebody can say, well, that's just black paint you have in there. That's nothing new. I can do the same thing on myself. Just like when I was looking at the products, and I said to myself, that's black and white paint. Yeah, I can tell just by looking at it. Nothing more than black and white paint. That allowed me to be able to make all three products in no time at all, because I knew it was in it. Oopsie. Forgot we don't got it pinned on that side. I didn't realize this until I was outside doing this demonstration on white screens on the Phantom. And when I looked on camera, we're in our form site. The guy was like, did you just see that? And I said, see what? And he said, you just took the screen off, and the screen was actually whiter. It still remained white when you removed the white screen off, like on the black screen. And I looked at it and said, oh, that'd make a fantastic demonstration. So this is where I started doing this from. Now, as you can see, with the black material, you're not going to put that white level correctly. From there. Now, also too, just to tell you that anytime that someone's comparing a white level, you have to compare it against a surface that is actually white, not gray. You don't put it against a gray surface. A gray surface is never going to be able to produce a white level. So you can't put that next to a side of a black screen and try to expect for both of them. The black screen show a white level equal to a gray surface. That doesn't make any sense. It's supposed to be a white surface. That's what you're supposed to do. I'll show you why they wouldn't have a white surface there, because what's going to happen is if you put a white surface next to a screen that can't see white light, it's going to come up extra dark. For a gray screen, not so much, because the white levels on the gray screen aren't going to be all that high anyway to begin with. All right, so there we are. We'll get up close again. Black fabric, as you can see. We already painted the screen black with everyday black paint. We showed them both side by side. They both look the same. But when you paint them, one actually produces a higher white level than the other, because one can read white light and one can't. There you go. All right, so let's go over here and show you this one real quick, because I want to get this wrapped up. This is black paint. Black paint that I have in the demonstration. There you'll notice that that is producing a much higher white level than the black fabric. See, when it comes to black fabric, they all don't produce the same amount of white light. Some a little better than others, but at the end of the day, it's all poor. It's very, very poor. But at the end of the day, they all produce a certain level of some kind of being able to try to pull white, but they can't. It's all going to come out gray. It's going to come out dirty. So this is why you have to do these demonstrations. All right, so you're looking at it from there. You think, I know it looks pretty good from there. I'm going to show you how they do the fake demonstrations. We've done this already, debunking the theory on that. TCL 4K demonstrations. Now, one of the things they'll do in their demonstrations to fake them, and I tell you, you gotta be careful about this, is they will not show those white levels versus a white screen. You have to be to see white levels versus white screen to see how the screen's going to pull up. So I can mimic their demonstrations very easy by using everyday black paint. Skyworth food demonstration. Most important thing for a black screen to pull is its white levels. Over here, zoom on its face. It's a perfect example. There you go. Now, as you can see right here, it's much better here than here. At the end of the day, this is how we can tell they're using just black paint only. Problem you're going to run into is the fact that you're not going to be able to produce the white levels. There you go. See it up close? Can't read white light. Doesn't have the ability to read white light. It was a surface never developed for white light. Same thing like black paint. Black paint is not designed to read white light. Only our technology can read white light. And our technology is 4 times darker than a phoenix. White screensaver.
Getting that from YouTube.
And the reason why I like the white screensaver, because there's no way to hide from it. Either your screen produces a white level or it doesn't. There's no camouflage in colors, there's nothing. It's just straight white, that's it. When we do demonstrations on contrast levels, if we're testing out a gray screen paint product. One of the gray screen paint products we used to have was called a Silver Complete. We had to test it on Starfield demonstrations. We had to test it on black levels, just about everything we could throw at it. Because at the end of the day, there's no point in me doing tests on that screen showing up colorful levels if I know the screen can produce that to begin with. You have to test it on the very opposite of what the screen can't do. Black screens always have to be tested on white levels regardless. And one of the hardest white levels is to pull up, it's all white. Because you're not going to have any colors in there camouflaging or trying to basically confuse on how the levels are supposed to look. Either you're going to pull a white level or you're not at the end of the day. No. So, question. Is the Phantom everyday black paint? Nah. Can the Phantom see white levels better than other black surfaces? Yep. What happens if you were to paint this black paint to your white screen? Now, like I said, at the end of the day, when I saw the demonstration, it was a gray screen versus a black screen. You don't ever do that. It's supposed to be a white screen versus a black screen. Because the majority of most people that are going to be buying this product are going to have white screens already. That's why if you watch demonstrations with Screen Innovation and those big companies, they will always have a white surface there to show the difference between their screen and a white screen. Because majority of most screens you're going to bump into, whether it be at schools or whether it be at someone's house, wherever it may be, home theater, it's going to be a screen that it's going to be white. Very odd, you're going to bump into somebody that's going to already have a DMP Supernova or any high-end performance screen. Mainly, it's going to be a white screen. This is what you're supposed to be doing. When we test our screens out, our screens are supposed to be tested against a white screen, not a gray screen. Again, a gray screen is going to pull a lower white level, and that is going to be cheating. We have to do it against a screen that's going to produce a very high white level. Now, if we were to take that black paint and we were to stick that in front of the screen, then this is how dirty the image would come up next to a white screen. So if you were to paint that black paint to your screen, white screen, thinking you're going to be able to pull the same image, the same colors and so forth, this is what you're going to pull up when it comes to your white levels. This is why you're supposed to test your products against a white level screen and not gray. That's cheating in a demonstration. Never do that. All right. Let's get the surface. We paint it. See how that reacts. There we go. Now that's the surface we just painted. Just to show you how dirty that's going to come up. So majority, like I said, most screens you're going to run into are going to be white. Very, very rare I bump into somebody who already has a high performance screen they're going to paint over. Majority of all the screens I bump into are either white screens, someone's painting to the wall, whatever it may be. This is why you have to test your black technology next to a white surface. You can't do it next to a gray surface, because a gray surface is not going to pull the same high white level as a white screen. And therefore, you'll be cheating in that demonstration. Now, see the color we have here? See how ugly it looks next to the black screen paint? Well, actually not black screen, black paint, house paint. See how that looks? It's not reading white light, is it? Okay. Let's remove this. Okay. And let's take this down. Behind the back of this, we have the Black Phantom. Let's see if it comes up as dark as we saw with the house paint. There you go. And we take the black house paint and we stick that in the middle of our screen. Let's see what we get now. There we go. These are the kind of tests you have to do. Now, let's go and get the remote control. If I lost it that quick, that fast. Let's show you. So, see if I can put his remote control that fast. I kind of bad habit of losing my stuff. Where it is? Dumped behind this. Let's just drop this on top of black paint, painted surfaces, because I'm not going to see it. Skyworth food demonstration.
Getting that from YouTube.
Let's go over to the face. Spot right there. There we go. There it is on the white screen. And here it is on our technology. White screen, black screen. White screen, Black screen. White screen. Black screen. All right. Now, you wouldn't have our product up there. You would just have your white screen. So let's take your white screen here, and let's see what happens if you were to take the black paint, paint that on your screen, and see what kind of reaction you would get. Wow. There you go. That's what you'd be picking up. Your image would come up so freaking dirty. Told you. That's what would happen. That's why you have to do that test. You have to show that demonstration showing off exactly your white levels. Because if you don't show your white levels off against black paint, this is what's going to happen to your screen. If you paint your screen with everyday black paint, what's going to happen is your white levels are going to drop like crazy. Your image is going to come up dirty. White screensaver.
Getting that from YouTube.
Now, you wouldn't be painting black paint over our screens. That would be actually idiotic. It really would be. You'd be painting this over a white screen. So you paint black paint to your white screen, this is how your white levels are going to pull up. You paint our technology to your white screen. And this is how your white levels are going to pull up. Heck of a lot better than dealing with a black screen. $4K Snow demonstration.
Getting that from YouTube.
Now, is our technology equal to a white screen? No. Not even close. Can it pull a high enough white level where your screen won't become dirty and dim when you can't see it? Yeah. You won't have to be to worry about your screen will not come dirty, will not come dim. You will either see it crystal clear with no problem, as you can see in the live demonstration. There we go. And I meant to say no on that last one. Sorry about that. That's why we do live demonstrations. We don't do, when we come to these kind of tests or these demonstrations, we don't like to do pre-recorded. All right. So this is what we're going to have. We're going to have next demonstration, black paint challenge. And this is anybody out there, and I mean not just one individual, anybody out there, because now, like I said, we've done all certified screens. We're done on the Phantom. Now Phantom is pointing this direction toward black screen paints. I was only able to track down one company called Paint On Screens, but theirs is a little different. And like I said, then the data screen's not actually black, it's actually a dark gray. So the challenge we're going to put out is basically their product versus everyday black paint. White levels only. It means you must have your screen side by side to a white screen, not a gray screen. Now I get the same white levels on that one. White screensaver.
Getting that from YouTube.
See the gray screen? That's why you don't do demonstrations side by side with a black screen versus a gray screen when it comes to white levels. You know why? Because the gray screen can't pull a 100% white level. That test demonstration is supposed to be done under a white screen only. Anytime you're displaying a black screen having the ability to be able to pull high white levels, it must be against a white screen, never against a gray screen. Because gray screen's white levels are going to drop, which would give the screen a better vantage point of being able to produce a better, what's called a white level. So that's what I was showing you side by side. There's no way in the world. You have to do white screen only on those tests. Well, we're done here. I have to be back on Facebook in a few minutes. Let me see what we want to do. Red screen.
Getting that from YouTube.
That's why the colors and the reds come up so bright on a Phantom, because Phantoms produce, like I said, one of the highest white levels. But like I said, that's the difference between our product and everyday black paint, which we can back up 100%. And that's something you should be seeing. Anytime you're watching a demonstration on a black screen, one of the demonstrations that should be displayed, number one, are white levels, screen versus a white screen, that needs to be displayed. Second, you need to see exactly what is the difference between the product and black paint. Because at the end of the day, if they can't show you that, that means you may be buying black paint and that's it. Just like I told you at the end of the day, because the side-by-side comparisons on gray screen paints cannot show a huge significant difference between another gray screen. At the end of the day, it's going to match black and white paint. And I sat there and made that statement and backed it up a couple of days, actually backed it up yesterday. That's definitely going to happen. All right, well, with that being said, we're going to be back on here soon. Once they get the grass cut in my backyard, we got a 150-inch gray mix going up next to a Phoenix. We're going to be doing an outside demonstration around 6 o'clock, and we're going to be using 2 projectors out there for that demonstration. We got 2 big boys we're going to take it outside, and we're going to show you exactly why you do not, on a large scale, 150 versus 150, why you do not want to deal with a gray mix or white screen when it comes to your outdoor home theater projection setup. We're gonna be doing this with the lights. So dark outside, some lights, no lights, but really dark outside, and with and when it's pitch black, which I'm hoping we don't run into any raccoons out there because I have a bit of some raccoon issues. But anyway, yeah, and that way you get to see it on 150 versus 150. Pretty sure I can get both of them to fit under the deck. It shouldn't be a problem. All right, so I got to get going. I got to get ready to start prepping the other screen to get it ready. Other than that, as I said before, those who want to feel that, hey, look, you don't have the, we have the actual product because we made it. It's ours. So we can make as much as we want. Sorry, but that's the truth. We made it. You know, we made it. We matched it. If we didn't have a match, say I didn't have a match, it didn't match perfectly, then you can come at me. But we have a perfect match. So at the end of the day, yeah, we have it. And there's no test to run underneath of it to compare it to. There's none. So there's really nothing we can do when it comes to testing. And like I can throw it against certifies and all of the stuff we do our screens on because, again, there's no test under it. It's just the final test on this product was in a dark and poorly lit environment. So no real test to run underneath of it. So, you know, going outside. We're making 150. I'm going to make a gallon for myself today. I'll do a gallon a day. All right. that being said, thank you all for your time. Got to go, and God bless. There's no test.